What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Got another fun Abzan list for you guys. This one's actually kind of a mostly Selesnya, so mostly green and white. And we're just kind of splashing black for a little bit of removal and things like that. So this is kind of reminiscent a little bit of the old Guilds of Ravnica standard, where Trostani, March Multitudes, things like that. Just kind of went really wide, really fast, and just kind of took over games. But we're kind of running the mutation package here as well. So yep, it's a pretty sweet list. So we got the Healer's Hawk here, 4 of in the 1-drop slot, Flying Lifelink, just a great 1-drop. Raise the Alarm here is a 2-mana instant speed, get 2 1/1 creature tokens out, kind of help us go wide quickly. Paradise Druid, of course, fits into any green-based deck. Can either ramp us into plays a little bit early, or it's just a great creature to mutate onto with the hexproof and things like that. And of course, running 1 copy of Emmara. She's a 2/2 legendary for green and white. And whenever it becomes tapped, you get a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. So this could be a fun target to mutate onto as well. But just the 1 of, I think is fine. And then 2 copies of Unbreakable Formation. It's great to protect us, obviously, against sweepers when we can hold the 3 mana open, as our creatures get indestructible. But mostly it's against kind of mirror creature type matchups, where we can give our creatures indestructible, +1/+1 counter, and vigilance, and then just attack in and not have to worry about anything on our, not have to worry about blocks on our opponent's side. We're just going to get through for a bunch of damage, keep our creatures alive, and they have vigilance, so we don't have to worry about our opponent killing us on the crackback. 3 Mythos of Nethroi is our main deck black splash. Just fantastic 3-mana instant speed, destroy anything on your opponent's side. Lovestruck Beast is the one way we do get humans out, so obviously you cannot mutate onto a human creature, but everything else in our deck we can mutate onto it. So obviously the adventure side, 1 mana sorcery, 1/1 human creature token, and then at 3 mana you get a 5/5. So even if you just hold this back as a blocker with your pump effects with Unbreakable Formation and things like that, that's perfectly fine. We just kind of want to go wide, go fast, and obviously there's going to be plenty of times you'll be able to attack in with it as well. So now we get to our mutations. Cubwarden helps us go wide, 3/5 lifelink. You can mutate for 4 and get 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. So plenty of mutation targets as well. So obviously the Healer's Hawk, the Raise the Alarm creature tokens, even a Paradise Druid or Emmara, things like that are all fantastic to mutate onto. The Huntmaster Liger is another way to kind of give us a nice little anthem effect. It's a 4 mana 3/4. However, it mutates for 3 mana, and when it mutates, creatures we control get +X/+X until end of turn. X is the number of times it has mutated. So we should have just enough mutation triggers to get this once or twice. And it's not like you're trying to play a long game where you're mutating a bunch of times. If you're doing that, you're probably doing it wrong. You want to go wide quickly, get 1, maybe 2 mutation triggers from something like this, or Unbreakable, or some of our other Anthem type effects, and then just kind of use that to close out the game, especially since several of our tokens do have lifelink. That's fantastic. And of course, a Gemrazer is another great mutation here for 4 mana 4/4 reach trample, and then when it mutates, we can destroy an artifact or enchantment on our opponent's side. Just the 2 of. Of course, we have more in the sideboard. Questing Beast, of course, is just a house on its own, so we're going to run that, especially to deal with answer to deal with planeswalkers. It's fantastic. Vivien fits any kind of a tribal or go wide type strategy, as she's a 5 mana planeswalker that pumps out 3/3 beast tokens turn after turn. And then, of course, we got Trostani here at the top end as a 5 mana 1/4. Other creatures we control get +1/+1. And when she comes down, we get 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. And a little bit of built-in protection here. At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. So a little protection from like Agent of Treachery and shenanigans like that. All right. So we're running full 25 lands, since we do want to make sure we get to these 5 drops as consistently as possible. But we also are pretty aggressive with our 4 drops, hopefully being able to play multiple spells per turn and just go wide and kind of overwhelm our opponent. So for the mana base here, we're mostly white, so 6 plains. Again, black is a splash, so just 2 swamps. And we do have plenty of green, but just just 5, since we're mostly white. And then the 2 Godless Shrines, 2 Overgrown Tomb, 4 Temple Garden, 2 of the Triomes, and 2 Fabled Passage for the extra little bit of fixing that can potentially be untapped. So going to our sideboard, we have more black here in the sideboard with some removal and Heartless Act. 2 mana instant speed, destroy a creature with no counters on it, or remove up to 3 counters from a creature. Vraska Golgari Queen. Of course, fantastic for grindier matchups with the card draw ability. We can sack lands if we're flooding out, sacrifice our little tokens if they're not quite doing enough for us. We need to find something a little bit better, some removal or anthem effects, things like that. And of course, we can destroy any non-land permanent with mana 3 or less on our opponent's side. And then the -9 is going to be kind of a game ending with our go wide strategy, is we just need any creature to get through for damage and we win the game. And then our last black splash here is the Nethroi Apex of Death, 5 mana, 5/5 Death Touch lifelink, mutates for 7, so it's a little bit steep, but we can just play it out as a 5/5, then mutate on top of it with something else. And whenever it mutates, we can turn any number of creature cards with total power 10 or less from our graveyard to the battlefield. So obviously Trostani is just 1 power, so that's fantastic. Then we have things like Healer's Hawk, Emmara, and all these kind of low-powered creatures that we can just get a bunch of these back on board and just rebuild our board state out of nowhere against kind of removal-heavy matchups. And of course, Shifting Ceratops is a must for the protection from blue and can't be countered against any sort of any blue-based deck really, but especially like flash decks, of course. And then being able to pay an additional green to give it reach, trample, or haste is fantastic. 2 more Gemrazers for the artifact and enchantment hate. 1 more Unbreakable Formation for either kind of mirror breakers against those creature-based matchups. Give us the advantage of the indestructible and being able to attack in with vigilance, as I already mentioned, but also against sweeper-heavy decks and coming against either of those matchups as well. And then 2 copies of Hushbringer to kind of shut down some of the enter the battlefield stuff as well. 1/2 flying lifelink. Again, it's not a human, so we can also mutate on top of this. It does shut down our Trostani a little bit, but it's probably not going to be too big of a deal since that's our only enter the battlefield effect, and her only ability is just putting 2 1/1, so we do lose those 2 if we have a Hushbringer out, but just certain matchups it's going to be kind of a necessary evil. And then the 3 Grafdigger's Cage is another kind of necessary in the current standard to shut down our opponent from casting free spells and to get stuff back out of their graveyard. Alright, so we'll jump into some best of 3 and see how we do. Obviously, Nethroi does interact with our graveyard, but other than that, we don't really have too much going on as far as that goes. Alright, so here we go. Up against Criminally Insane. I'm going to go first. Well, we have the turn 1 Hawk. Turn 2 Paradise Druid, and that'll give us 3 mana to mutate King Caesar if we want. It's not amazing, but it's an okay start. Probably just Hawk into Druid and then hold up Raise the Alarm. It's our most likely line of play here until we can find additional mana. So 25 lands is a little steep for kind of an aggro list, but like I said, you definitely want to make sure you curve out into your 4 and 5 drops, and you also have mana open to play multiple creatures per turn. So we got the Jeskai Triome. Alright, still play out our Paradise Druid. So we'll see, this is some kind of a Jeskai fires or something going on. Jeskai cycling. Okay, no Luris as their companion. So they have 1 mana open to cycle it again. Cycle the Fox right away. Okay, so we can kill that right now. I think we just want to get this Raise the Alarm down. They just cycled, so they're obviously not going to block. Just hold up Raise the Alarm. Could kill this at some point. But it's mostly a Zenith Flare you have to worry about with these cycling decks. So there's the Stinger. They're cycling away, sure. We are stuck on lands here, which is unfortunate, but... And they're playing a very meta deck. which can just kill you out of nowhere with Zenith Flares. I think we just want to mutate here. Gonna mutate onto one of the soldiers. And attack in with the 2 lifelink. So that's going to help a ton. And now to prevent damage from this fox, we have life-linking chump blockers. And they don't really have good attacks with their 2-2 here. But obviously they're going to get a bunch of pings as they continue to cycle. But as long as we can keep our life total high instead of a Zenith Flare range, we should be okay. They're cycling away just because they can. So they'll probably just mutate on the other token next turn and just keep trying to go wide. If they hold us back as a blocker, then I think we just Mythos it. But as long as they attack in, we don't have any Anthem effects, and we do need to protect our life total, so we'll go ahead and take the easy block here. Another land, perfect. So now we can mutate onto Paradise Druid if we want, but I think we just go for the other soldier here, try to diversify. Do we attack in with the Druid? Yeah, let's go ahead and attack in. 4 lands, I think we're okay. So we're going to be gaining 7 life here. And we have 3 1/1 life-linking blockers. And these decks do not run sweepers, just try to cycle into a big Zenith Flare. And our opponents aren't really in a good spot to attack with the Fox. And Zenith Flare is still a long ways from killing us. So we can hold up Mythos to destroy something. This mutates for 3 as well, so if we have another untapped land here, we could potentially cast both of these, and that should be enough to close out the game. Don't imagine them attacking with the Fox here, since we are fairly wide and their life total is all the way down to 5. Obviously, Cyclone's a top tier deck right now, so it's always a little frustrating to see these kind of decks showing up in unranked play. I think Trostani would win the game here as well. Right? Because I can block 2. Yeah. Alright, there you go, Jeskai Cycling in unranked play. And they're actually going through with blocks. Okay. Get them down to -5, and we're all the way up to 39. That's pretty sweet. Okay, so we definitely want the... what do we want here? This does not shut down the Zenith Flare. Shouldn't have to worry about artifacts or enchantments. Heartless Act is worthless here in this matchup. Nethroi is too slow. Vraska is okay to kind of pick off their Fox, I guess. But in case they do side in some Banshee Lights or something like that, probably want to leave these 2 in here. Of course, we do have the Mythos as well. Not sure we really need to bring in anything here, honestly. I'll probably just run it back. I think I want to go a little bit faster. We could take out Vivien just to bring in the Vraska to kill the Fox and just get that off the board. She could be a little slow. Oops. So maybe we'll try Vraska just to deal with the Fox and things like that. They have plenty of cheap creatures for us to pick off. And Vivien could be a little bit slow. You kind of have to go fast before they get off their Zenith Flares. So I think we'll try it like that. Ooh, this hand is slow. We're missing green, but we do have double Healer's Hawk, I guess. Man, this is not an ideal keep. We'll put the King Caesar away. We'll just ride these Hawks for a couple turns until we can find some green mana. So if we don't find green mana, they probably just get us here. This life gain from the Healer's Hawk will buy us a little bit of time at least. Turn 1 Fox again. Another Plains. Okay. Opponent does like their emotes. And to ignore those, since most people tend to use them for trolling purposes. There's our green mana, finally. We'll crack that right away, attack in for 2, and then we'll have some decent options next turn. We could just play out the Beast as a 5/5. Just to hold this Fox at bay, maybe. It's going to grow pretty big, though, so it's only going to buy us a little bit of time. Obviously, if we draw an untapped green source, that would be great as well, because we can play both. We're going to deal with one of our Hawks. And then attack for 2. There's another green source. Yeah, let's go and play out a token, and the Beast does a 5/5. So not really cycling as aggressively this turn. This game, I should say. Definitely a little bit of a slow start from us. We have a Paradise Druid, but not much else going in hand, so hopefully the Beast and Hawk are enough to kind of carry us through a little bit. So Ominous Seas on turn 4. It's pretty decent for us. So they have 1 mana open to cycle, and they fire it off right away. So we just hold back the 1/1 and attack in for 6. Seems pretty good. More lands. So they're down to 12, but of course the Zenith Flare is going to gain him a bunch of life back. And we can chump block with one of these if we need to, but probably just take it here. And just hope for Tristani or some kind of Anthem effect. But yeah, this mulligan's been pretty brutal for us. See if we can value it out, but I imagine they're just going to get to their Zenith Flare before we get to our good stuff, and then that'll just buy them a bunch of life back and put the game out of reach. We got 2 Foxes going. So choosing more to be in on the Fox and Ominous Sea plan rather than just the Zenith Flare plan. It seems like a lot of the cycling decks are kind of all in on the strategy of just maybe get 1 or 2 creatures down just to kind of defend yourself, and then just cycle like crazy till you can get a massive Zenith Flare. Seems to be everybody's preferred strategy. So they can make that a 5/5, we can kill it. It's not amazing, it's just attacking in the air. Say go. So now we're empty-handed. They're going to get this 8/8 here pretty soon. And we don't have a good way to deal with these 2 Foxes. Unfortunately, just a much slower start from us, and we're able to put them under any pressure. They're down to 11, but all they have to do is fire off a Zenith Flare, and they'll be back up to like 20. And they've got these 2 Foxes that keep growing, and they're about to put an 8/8 down at any time. 2 cards in hand, they could easily have 2 cycling spells right here. Of course, the cycling decks do just tend to draw a bunch of lands as well. I feel like we're pretty much out of it at this point, but we'll give it one more draw. Obviously on paper we're at 26, they're at 11, but they've got just such a huge advantage with this fox that are just going to continue to grow and we can't really deal with. And the Ominous Sea is going to start putting down 8/8s. Yeah, they have things like that. So yeah, I think that's fine. I think we just run it back and just hope for better draws there. Okay, so now we're missing white, but we do have the Paradise Druid that can fix that. So we'll go ahead and shock in to get a 1/1 down, I think. I always wonder why people play meta decks, top tier meta decks in unranked play. Obviously people will just say that they need to practice them. There's plenty of resources out there to find out how these decks work. I don't think we really need to spend too much time in the unranked queues getting these decks, playing these decks. All 3 games they've had the turn 1 Fox. Oh, it's attacking, they're not going to block. Next turn we have a Questing Beast open, that's pretty good. We could make this a, what, 3/3 potentially? Play a land, cycle, make it a 3/3. Okay, tap land. And we just go Questing Beast here. Oh wait, did not draw a land. Man, we're having all kinds of issues with lands in our 25 land deck. Sweet. We can just play the 5/5. They have some way to deal with our Paradise Druid right now. That's going to be pretty devastating since we're stuck on a couple lands. Okay, 3/3 Lifelinker. That's good for them. Oh, that's weird. So we do have the Unbreakable Formation at some point, but... not in a good spot here. I'm crashing for 5 while we can. Yep. If any of these cards was a land, we'd be in much better shape. Gain a life from the fight effect and get rid of our hawk, which they don't have another way to deal with. Take 3. Cannot draw lands. It's frustrating. Attack for 5. Saying nice. Yep. People only use the emotes when they want to troll, seems like. See, we're stuck on lands, can't really do much. Two cards in hand, 2 open mana. Another cycling effect. They're down to 16, and they have plenty of cycling spells in their graveyard. Wow, we just cannot draw lands here. This is brutal. I can mutate the Gemrazer. Let's attack in with the beasts. I could block with the fox and then cycle. So in emergency we could Unbreakable. Go ahead and get a 4/4 reach trample out. So we can apply more pressure on them. Flare for 6, they gain 6. That's what's so frustrating about these decks. They just cycle away and then out of nowhere they just hit you for damage and gain all that life back. It's kind of like those old Gates decks when they would just drop an Archway Angel out of nowhere. It's like these decks aren't doing anything impressive. Let's just pick off this fox and crash in for 10. Hopefully that's good enough.
Your life's about to end. Hope you're ready.
You have a fight as one here.
Flatter yourself.
And this is why us casual jank players have such a problem with people playing these decks in unranked queues. I mean, they're just, by the way they're playing, it seems like they're pretty clearly just kind of trolling for fun. It's like, okay, you're playing a tier 1 top tier deck in unranked play just to mess with people. Okay, they do gain 7, one more Zenith Flare, and we are dead. So we got 5, 10, 14. We got lethal. So that's 18, 19, and 20 damage coming at them. So we'll give them a nice back. Alright. Hope you enjoyed your top tier deck losing to a brew in unranked play. Alright, so yeah, Selesnya is still pretty strong. A little bit of splash of black for the removal. The Vraska there coming in clutch, getting rid of that fox. Yeah, and then yeah, just being able to go wide and then pump up the team was super fun. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, take care.